I am a scientist and I love astrology, and I've talked about this before and people came for me, but I'm going to talk about it again because I think it's important. People ask me how I believe in astrology as a scientist, and my first response to that is I don't believe in it. This is not a faith. This is not a religion. I do not think that the planets are making us do things. I don't believe that there is causation here. I think that astrology is a system that has been developed over millennia that is observational research. And if you want to fucking fight me on the fact that I just used the word research, like, go right ahead. I understand as a scientist, and yes, I am. People also want to be like, you're not a scientist. I have a graduate degree in public health. I have a background prior to that in biology. I am a scientist. Okay. Thank you. I do research for a living. And a lot of our public health research is human behavior research. It's observational research. Research doesn't just have to be randomized control trials. In fact, like, most research is not that. And a randomized control trial is the only type of study that can imply causation, that we can look at and say, these results tell us that this causes that. All other research only implies correlation, which means we don't know why this is, but we can say that this is correlated with that. Which is the thing with astrology. We don't know why our exes come back during Mercury retrograde or why technology starts to be fucking weird during Mercury retrograde, but we do observe repeatedly that it happens. And observing patterns like that is what astrology is. It's that kind of research. I understand that in the sense that physics, biology, chemistry, all use peer review process and the scientific method very rigorously. In that sense, astrology is not a science in that way, but it is a practice that has used observational research in order to draw conclusions about things that are correlated. The piece that is, okay, so when this is happening in the sky, this is happening down here. I don't think that this is causing this. I think that over millennia, we've observed that when this is happening in the sky, this type of thing seems to be happening down here, or these types of qualities tend to appear in the people born during that time. That is observational research. We record those things, observe patterns, and voila. The why, why is that happening? What is causing those correlations? That's where faith comes in. That's where spirituality comes in. That's where belief systems come in. But astrology itself is not a belief system. It is a system of observation that has been passed down for millennia. It's older than any religion. And I also find it interesting. So a lot of scientists, last time I posted anything like this, were like, you're not a scientist. How could you say all of this? And like, just putting science on this pedestal. That is the opposite of the energy that a scientist should embody. Science at its core is wanting to understand things. Scientists should be people that know how much we don't know how much we cannot know, and want to understand as much as possible, want to learn as much as possible. Instead, I think a lot of scientists hide behind this energy of like, because I'm a scientist, I know so much. Because I'm a scientist, I know that I can know everything, or I do know everything. And that's a bunch of bullshit. And any scientist with that energy is not a scientist that I want to align myself with, or, like, I have no interest in that, because that is not what the essence of science is. Science has made me understand how much we don't know and how much we cannot know, how much we will never know. And so if you don't want to buy into the thousands of years of observation that people have like passed down, and whether that was passed down through oral tradition or written down is kind of moot. Oral tradition has value. It is important. It's important in most cultures. And so I don't even like going into a conversation where like oral tradition and like recording things in that way is not being respected. It's just like not the vibe. I digress. And also, like, I don't know why people get so up in arms about astrology when scientists are very much allowed to have faith in something that is unseen. And I don't have faith, again, in astrology. This is not a faith. It is respect for observations that have been made and patterns that have been recognized over a very, very, very long period of time. And trust that those patterns, after being recorded for this fucking long, are pretty spot on. And experience from my own experience, that is when I talk to anyone about their chart, or I have never once spoken to a person who was like really kind of like about astrology and then talked to them about their chart and not had them be like, well, that's kind of spot on. Not once. They have never not responded that way. And I know that's just like my anecdotal experience, but it's also the experience of astrologers. And also astrology has a tremendous amount of like cultural value in other places in the world. And it's just our Western world that seems to want to like rebuke it so much, which I feel is unsurprising. Like a lot of Western culture is this kind of, I know everything, I'm going to control everything. We can't control everything and we can't understand everything. I don't understand why astrology is correct, but it continues to be correct. I mean, and if it isn't correct, it's usually because we, the humans interpreting what's happening, interpret it incorrectly. It's not usually because what we're interpreting is wrong. It's just, you know, all of these things have a multitude of meanings. This is a system that speaks to the entirety of human experience and global experience. And so each piece of everything connects with a lot of things. And so are we going to misinterpret shit because to err is human? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do scientists misinterpret their findings? Absolutely. Am I saying again that astrology is the same as chemistry, biology, physics, etc.? No. But I do want to also say that, you know, I just kind of went off on a tangent, but physics is telling us all the time how we basically don't know anything. We don't even know where a particle is, like a quantum particle. We do not know where it is at any given time until it's observed, because it's not actually anywhere until it's observed. Like, tell me you can't open your mind enough to hear something like that and be like, okay, so there's shit we really don't fucking get. You know what I mean? But I find it just so interesting that in our culture, people give space to faith and religion, and you can believe in something unseen with nothing proven about it, no recorded observations that make any sort of fucking sense whatsoever. But because it's acceptable in our society, that's totally okay. Like, you're not crazy if you buy into that. But if you quote unquote buy into astrology, then all of a sudden you're fucking insane in the eyes of so many people in our Western world, which is crazy. Like that's crazy. Like there's actual, like, there's observations that inform astrology. That doesn't exist for most religion. And I'm not shitting on religion, but like, if we're going to allow space for that, how can we not allow space for astrology? And again, sorry if it's not been written down exactly how you want it to be written down for all of history. But again, oral tradition is valuable. It is real. It is important. It is an important part of how we know lots of shit that we are certain that we know. But anyway, that's just my little spiel. I wanted to talk about this. I've talked about it before. People came for me. I think I have a little bit of a thicker skin now. But if you don't know your chart and you want to understand more about astrology, I would recommend downloading the app Astra. It's a really cool app that you can ask questions to. So if you want to understand more about it, you can literally put your information in, you can try it for free, and it'll give you your chart, and you can ask it whatever you want. You can ask it what different placements mean. You can ask it what different aspects mean. That's the other thing. People don't resonate with their sun sign, and they don't even understand that the sign that they know about themselves is the sun sign. And they don't know that there's so much more to a chart that explains so many other pieces of their experience. But then when they do learn about it, usually they're like, oh, that's interesting. But anyway, check out the app. I hope you liked my spiel. I love ranting about this, so